Long ago, in a quiet village nestled between green hills, there lived a boy named Elian. He and his mother shared a small, humble hut. Each day, Elian would carry water from a stream far away, helping his mother without complaint. He always smiled, remembering her words. God watches over us. When you do good, you bring joy to his heart. One year, a terrible drought struck the land. The stream began to dry up, and fear settled in the villagers' hearts. People prayed, but the rain never came. Some began to lose faith, saying God had turned his back on them. But not Elian. Every day, even when he could bring back only a little water, he shared it with the elderly and the children in the village. One man asked him, "Why don't you keep the water for you and your mother?" Elian replied, "God will take care of us. I believe that. This last drop might be someone else's hope." One night, Elian heard a faint cry from the edge of the forest. He followed the sound and found a young deer, injured and weak. Without hesitation, he gave the last drop of water in his jar to the deer and used nearby leaves to bandage its wound. The moment the deer touched the water with its lips, the wind stirred. Clouds gathered in the sky, thunder rumbled. Rain began to pour, heavy and strong, soaking the earth and filling the empty streams. The next morning, the villagers were amazed to see the streams flowing once again. They asked, "Who made God listen to us?" At that time, Elian was quietly sitting beside his mother, both smiling as they watched the rain fall. No one knew about the deer, except Elian, and God. The rain fell for 3 days. The dried streams overflowed, and the once cracked earth bloomed with life. Flowers opened to drink the sky's gift, and their fragrance filled the valley like a gentle hymn. The villagers rejoiced, dancing under the rain, but they also whispered questions. Why now? Why did God choose this moment to hear us? An elder, who had lived through many droughts, stood at the center of the square and said, "Not all prayers are spoken aloud. Some are whispered through actions." From that day, people began to notice Elian, the boy with kind eyes and quiet strength. They admired him, but he remained the same, simple, humble, and always thinking of others before himself. One night, after the storm had passed, Elian had a dream. He stood in a golden field, glowing under a sky painted with dawn. A man dressed in white robes walked toward him. His face was gentle, and light surrounded him like the morning sun. The man placed a hand on Elian's shoulder and spoke. "You did not save the world, my child. You saved one small soul. And that was enough to move my heart." Elian looked up and asked, "But I only had 1 drop of water. How could that be enough for you to listen?" The man smiled. "Because you didn't keep it for yourself." When Elian awoke, the first morning dew touched his cheek. He wasn't sure if it was rain, or a tear, his own, shed in gratitude for having touched something divine, through one quiet act of compassion. After the rain, Elian's village bloomed like never before. But peace, like water, is easily spilled. At first, it began with arguments, who deserved more water, who had prayed more, or less. Jealousy stirred. Some whispered, "Elian is chosen by God." Others scoffed, "If he's so special, why doesn't he bring another miracle?" Elian didn't defend himself. He bore their words in silence. But inside, his heart trembled. "Lord, if I'm just a child, why did you come to me? And if I carry your light, why do I feel so alone?" One night, Elian left the village with only a pouch of dry bread and an empty water jar. He journeyed across stony hills, deep forests, and unfamiliar towns. In each place, he gave what he could, patching a widow's roof, fetching water for orphans, teaching a blind man to sense flowers by scent. But no miracles came. No voice from heaven. No divine dreams. Only sweat, calloused hands, and quiet patience. After many months, Elian reached a barren land. Cracked soil, no trees, no sound. There, an old man was digging a hole into the ground, his hands worn and trembling. Elian asked, "Why are you digging? There's nothing here." The old man didn't stop. He replied, "I dig because I believe, under every ground, there is water." Elian sat beside him. Then he picked up a shovel and began to dig too. Day after day, in silence. Blood on their fingers, lips dry and burning, but they kept going. Then, on the 21st day, as the sun painted the sky in gold and crimson, they heard it. Drip, drip. Water. Not from above, but from below. A well, born not of miracles from the sky, but of unwavering effort, faith, and love. Elian wept. For the first time in his long journey, he realized something. He no longer needed the heavens to speak. God was not just above. He was also deep below, within every heart that refused to give up. After the well was dug, Elian spent many more days with the old man, learning to care for the land, cultivating not only the soil but also the spirit. The old man taught him that true wisdom doesn't come from knowing, but from understanding the silence of the earth, the patience of the seasons. When Elian finally returned to his village, he was not the same boy who had left. His eyes, once filled with doubt, now shone with quiet certainty. The villagers saw the change, but they did not know the journey he had taken. The first thing Elian did was visit the same dry, cracked stream where he once carried water for miles. He knelt beside it, cupping his hands in the air. The villagers gathered around him, curious. Elian spoke softly, but his words were clear. Water does not come from the sky alone. It comes from the hands that dig, from the hearts that give, and from the souls that refuse to give up. You have to be the ones to seek it out. The villagers were puzzled. But we don't have a well, one of them said. Elian smiled. Not a well like any other. This is the well inside you. And so, he began teaching them how to cultivate their faith, their patience, and their willingness to care for one another, as he had learned in the barren desert. Elian helped them build not just a physical well, but a well of hope, of persistence. He showed them that when they all worked together, the land would bloom again, just as he had seen in the desert. The rain of mercy was not the end, it was the beginning of something greater. Days turned into weeks, and as the village worked, they began to see the fruits of their labor. Water flowed through the dry stream once again, and flowers began to grow in the fields. Their crops flourished, not just because of the rain, but because of the strength they had built together. Years passed, and Elian grew into a young man, though his spirit remained that of the humble boy who had once left the village with only a small water jar. The village had transformed. Not just because of the well that now flowed with clean water, but because of the people's hearts, which had learned to bloom like the land itself. News of the village's renewal spread. Other villages, struggling with drought, famine, and division, began to hear of the miracle that Elian had brought, not from the sky, but from within the hearts of the people. Elian was invited to visit these villages, and though he hesitated at first, he soon realized his mission was greater than he had imagined. His message was simple. A well is not just dug with hands, it's dug with love, faith, and unity. With each visit, Elian taught them to tend not only to their land but to each other. He showed them that in their unity, they would find strength. That in their patience, they would find abundance. And that in their compassion, they would find water for their souls, even in the driest places. But Elian did not stop at teaching. He stayed in each village for a time, working with them, learning from them. He helped them build not just wells of water, but wells of hope, of faith, and of kindness. One day, as Elian was traveling between villages, he found himself standing on a high hill, looking down at the land he had helped change. The sun was setting, and the sky was painted with hues of gold and violet. He sat on a rock, letting the cool breeze brush his face, feeling peace settle deep within him. Then, in the distance, he saw it, the familiar sight of a boy and his mother standing by a stream, both of them with their hands cupped to catch the water flowing freely. Elian smiled. He had learned, and now, he was teaching. The ripples of light he had created, by digging one small well, had spread across the land. And he knew that it would never stop. As long as there were hearts willing to give, water would always flow. Elian's travels took him far beyond the villages he had helped. As the years passed, he became known not just as a boy who brought water, but as a man who brought light to places where shadows had long prevailed. People from distant lands came to seek his wisdom, for they had heard of the boy who had transformed a barren village with nothing more than faith and love. One day, a weary traveler came to him with a question that had haunted him for years. He asked, "Elian, you have shown us how to bring water to the land, but how do we bring light to our souls? How do we fill the emptiness that lingers inside us, even when our bodies are nourished?" Elian looked at him for a long moment, and then spoke softly. "The well of the earth is not unlike the well within our hearts. The water you seek is not found in the land, but in the love you give, in the faith you have, and in the patience you nurture within yourself." The traveler seemed puzzled, but Elian continued. "Just as the land thirsts for water, so does the soul thirst for peace. To quench this thirst, you must dig deep, not with your hands, but with your heart. When you love, when you give, when you forgive, you draw water from within. And the more you give, the deeper the well becomes." The traveler, finally understanding, knelt before Elian in gratitude. Over the years, Elian's teaching spread even further. His wisdom became a beacon for those searching for something beyond material wealth, something that would nourish their spirits, just as water nourishes the earth. On his final day, Elian stood on the same hill where he had once gazed upon the land he had helped renew. The well he had dug, both in the earth and in the hearts of the people, had grown into a vast network of kindness, compassion, and unity. And as the sun set, casting its golden light over the land, Elian smiled. He had given all he could. And in the quiet of his heart, he knew that the ripples of his love, his faith, and his wisdom would continue forever. Elian had become a symbol of hope, not only for his village but for distant lands that once languished in darkness and despair. His teachings had spread far and wide, reaching places that were barren, not just in the land, but in the hearts of the people. Years had passed, and on one quiet evening, Elian stood once again atop the familiar hill where he had once gazed upon the barren land he helped transform. The village below had flourished into a lush garden, a place where people didn't just survive on water, but lived through love, faith, and patience that he had instilled within them. The world had changed, and Elian knew that his mission had been completed. He had brought more than water to the earth, he had brought light to the hearts of those who needed it most. One evening, as the sun set, Elian sat by the well he had once dug with a stranger in his youth. The well was no longer just a source of water, but a symbol of hope, love, and renewal. He exhaled deeply, feeling at peace. He knew that his journey had come to an end, but the ripples of his work would continue to spread. "There's one thing I've learned on this journey," Elian said softly. "Water doesn't just come from the rain or the land. It comes from the hearts of the people. Every act of kindness, every smile, every gesture of help, is a drop of water, one that nourishes the soul." He gazed out into the distance, where children were playing by the stream, and villagers worked together, their faces filled with joy. In that moment, Elian understood that the well he had dug in the earth was the same well he had dug in the hearts of the people. Each drop, each act of love, would continue to flow, forever, like an endless circle. Elian had given all he could, and now, in the stillness of his heart, he knew that his legacy would continue through the kindness and love of the generations to come. Elian had passed on, but his presence would live on in every drop of water, every act of kindness, and every step taken by those he had inspired. Water is not only what sustains us physically, but it is also what nourishes our souls. The true wells are not those dug into the earth, but those we dig in our hearts. Through love, patience, and sharing, we create wells that flow eternally. The more we give, the deeper the well becomes, and the ripples of our actions will continue across generations.